Hello, my fellow patriots. This is Alex with Disabled Vets Perspective, and welcome to the first episode of Inside Veterans Affairs for 2020. This is going to be an information packed show, and it looks like I am a little dark. Maybe it's my darkened skin, I don't know. But winter makes it rough. That's a little better. Cast a little light on the subject. Um, no, I don't need that light. Anyway, so welcome everybody. Let me jump through here and just identify who is in the house. Margot Willman, good to see you. Dangerous Freedom, welcome, welcome. Deplorable Bobby, what's happening, brother? Uh, who else we got up here? Oh, look, I got Willman again. Oh, there's Dangerous Freedom again. Oh, Donnie Newman, welcome. Good to see you. Look, there's Margot again. Boy, there's so many people with the same names in my channel. It's just really weird. But anyway, so I am going to be going over some of the headlines, and apparently something's going on with Iran. I don't know what all that's about, so we're going to go over that a little bit. We're going to be discussing Virginia a little bit because the subjects that I do discuss have as much to do with our veterans and military as they do for the general population. So I will be touching base on those. Uh, Ken Wayberg and Old Reliable, good to see you both. Jane, welcome. Jeff, good to see you. All right, we're getting the band back together here. I'm just babbling for a minute. Let everybody come on in here. Let me get my disclaimer out of the way. This is an adults only channel. This is not intended for anybody under the age of 18. If you're not at 18 or older, please excuse yourself from my channel. Apologize for any inconvenience and have a nice day. All right. All right, just give it a couple more minutes. I want to see. It takes a minute for my live feed to get announced to the world. Um, that way people can catch it from the beginning. Patty Tothwhite, welcome. Good to see you. And Eldon Gomez, welcome, welcome. All right. Anyway, I do this basically the same every time I start out with what's going on with the intergovernmental affairs through the VA. See if there are any new headlines there, and then check out what's happening in some of the other areas of the active duty and uh, veterans departments. Tim Clark, good to see you. Uh, Ken Wayberg, I think I mentioned you already, and Damon Austin. Yeah, I need some, I guess, bigger bifocals. Kind of ridiculous. I shouldn't be wearing bifocals. Do I need to show ID, Alex? I promise I'm over 18. I really do need to double check that, Mr. Dangerous Freedom. You look awfully young. So, see, I remembered your name. See that? See? I can accidentally see if I can remember your name. That's pretty good. One of those names that I'm pretty sure I'll be able to hang on to. Uh, all right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump over here to my first set of articles with information, and we're going to kick this thing off. Again, welcome everybody. 2020, we are in it to win it this year, and we'll see how that goes. All right, and the only two articles have come up in the news releases for the Office of Intergovernmental Affairs, so we'll go over those real quick. Secretary Wilkie's statement regarding House Veterans Affairs Ranking Member Phil Rowe's retirement announcement. So apparently, Phil Rowe is retiring. He played a critical role in the most comprehensive overhaul of the Department of Veterans Affairs this nation has seen in a generation. His legacy includes writing the bill that gave veterans real permanent choice, putting us on the path to modernizing our electronic health records and making sure VA remains accountable to the veterans it serves. So apparently that guy is going out with a bang. I hope that we get somebody in here that will uh, pick up the torch, so to speak, and run with it and not just burn everything down that was left for him. We've got the right president to do the job. He's doing a lot of good jobs, so that helps. Um, this Iran thing could be interesting. We'll see how that all plays out. DM, hey there, good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, next article here says Blue Water Navy Vietnam Veterans Act claims now being determined. So this is good news. This has been a long time in the paperwork, and you know how the government likes to push off things on veterans, especially when they have to admit their own faults. So this is a step forward. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs will begin deciding claims for the Blue Water Navy Vietnam Veterans Act of 2019 at 12:01 a.m. Philippines Standard Time, January 1st, 2020. The Philippines is the farthest east VA region benefits office. Interesting. So they're kicking that thing off with a bang. So I hope some results come out of that because our Vietnam veterans are getting older and have probably been through a few types of hell because of combat illnesses and chemical exposure and things like that. And now they're finally doing something to mitigate that. I don't know what you're showing me. Okay, thank you. You got to remember, it's dark. All I have is this blinding light in my face. Stagehand. You know, sometimes there's a hand that comes in from the back. Uh, DM doing too many things at once. That's impossible. With all of your clones, I don't see that, especially with the CIA budget. You know that I just don't see it. But you know, you can tell the stories. You know, people around here are probably familiar with fake news, so whatever. All right. Uh, Iraq's parliament calls for expulsion of U.S. troops. Um, yeah, if we were to leave Iraq right now, then you would be just calling that the lower Iran. Iran would just move in and take over. There would be nothing they could do about it. But it is also frustrating. We keep training up their troops, you know, and setting up all their equipment, giving them all of our fresh military equipment, and then after they're done and they feel like they don't need us anymore, they want to kick us out, and then a few years later we end up going to war with them again. So it's repetitive. Uh, Wolf Stonehenge, good to see you. And Jack Bird, welcome. Um, all right, so the situation with Iraq, as you guys, or Iran rather, as you guys know, it's a little bit of tit for tat, mostly tit, but the Salalami or uh, Salami or whatever the hell this general's name is finally bitten the dust, according to the White House and Intel. Um, Interesting how his armored car was vaporized and his hand and his ring were in remarkably good shape with a little dirt, but you know that's not here or there, so we'll just have to see. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of times CIA assets get killed off, and then they go into their witless relocation program. Anyway, so President Trump has made it clear that if Iran hits another American facility or injures another American soldier or American period, that there are 52 targets already lined up for retaliation. The 52 targets represent the 52 terrorists that were taken in I think it was 1978, and in 1980, when President Reagan was inaugurated, he made contact with the Shah of Iran at that time and told him that as soon as he gets inaugurated, if those um, prisoners aren't released, then he will take out 52 of their cultural centers and target sites that mean a lot to Iran. And just amazingly, Iran all of a sudden started loading planes up with the people they detained. 12B Georgia got in here. Good to see you. Already conservative. Welcome, brother. Um, anyway, so so Iran has a choice here, and I think you guys know that I'm sick of the bankers' wars. I've probably made it pretty clear when the banks make money on both ends at the expense of our fighting men and women, then that's not something I'm into. But um, if we are going to be attacked, then we need to do an industrial zombie stomp on their guts and absolutely annihilate them and discourage them from moving forward with any more assaults on our country. If you just kind of slap them a little bit, then you haven't done anything but maybe delayed the next attack. Um, SNPXEZ veteran, welcome. He's old and a retired satiric. I'm not sure what that was. Uh, Satirian. Okay. Um, anyway, so if this is going to happen, it doesn't need to be another 20-year war because we don't need to protect poppy fields and we don't need to control the oil or prop up the petrodollar, which is exactly what we're in Middle Eastern conflicts for. Um, we need to stomp them like a grape. You know, don't go into their country and rebuild it for them after we've stomped them, but discourage them from moving forward on any more plans to screw with the United States and then get the hell out. Be done with it. Wash our hands and go back to daily life. And so, anyway, this is, I'm starting to feel a little bit of a left hand slant, just a mild one in the military.com news feed. And this is one example of it. Former U.S. hostages in Iran say that Trump's threat revived their 1979 trauma. Well, I have a feeling that's not entirely true because their trauma was alleviated by a Republican president that was a hard ass, that was one that if you screwed with America, you were going to get absolutely stomped, and then we were going to leave you to lick your own wounds. We've got the same kind of president now. So this idea that it brings back trauma, well, you know, it's not like we were the ones that bombed our embassy or killed the soldier or the contractor and the other civilians. We didn't do that. They did it. We just retaliated by taking out the man that was responsible for the garbage. So they can, if they're traumatized, they need to get over it. They need to think with some reality because we have the ability to eliminate the threat over there. And we've been trying to do things diplomatically in Iran with the Shaws and the way they've taken over that country. You know, there's no negotiating with terrorists, especially when they're propped up by the former regime and John Kerry, you know, subverting the international business over there. Just amazing how many people are linked directly to Iran that were in the former regime, and they're still trying to create policy and trying to use the Iranian proxy terrorist organizations as their own little puppet brigade. So we'll have to see. Um, Apparently, an airstrike also today that was some. I don't know if it was mortars or rockets. It hasn't been made clear, but some people don't know there's a difference. So they'll just say one. They'll say rockets went in, but it could be mortars. But anyway, it was airstrike that kills 5 members. No, 3 members. There were 3 dead. That one in one of the areas in the green zone, and they also aimed some at the embassy again. So we're waiting to see what kind of attack is going to be countered for that. Propus, good to see you. And Coco, welcome. I got some new faces and names in here. Todd Davis, good to see you. That's kind of cool. Our channel's growing a little bit. Not no thanks to YouTube. They're trying to make sure that it only grows at a snail's pace if the snail was moving backwards. But anyway, we're still getting it. Pete the Patriot, hey brother, good to see you. All right. The Nevada National Guardsmen deploy to Europe for the first time. Um, you can kind of expect that we're going to be positioning troops in strategic locations Especially, I think we're going to need to prop up Africa for AFRICOM. Um, things are looking bad there. Al Shabaab attacks military base used by U.S. forces in Kenya. So Al Shabaab is another proxy of Iran. So you can bet that they're going to try to do a multi-point conflict with us, spread us out, spread us a little thin. So you know, it's they think that's how they're going to get the upper hand on us. Ashley, hey there, good to see you. Omar is not. She's Somali. Benny, maybe. Good to see you, brother. Welcome, welcome. Um, anyway, so we need to be careful with that. While I'm on this subject, I want to make a point that at 9 o'clock Eastern time, some real serious information is going to be dropped down from Douglas Ducote. So uh, you guys need to mark that down. 9 o'clock Eastern time, Douglas Ducote show. He's going to be going over some evidence that they found of domestic threats by Iraq. They've been moving people into this country for a long time, so that needs to be watched so that you guys have a heads up of what's going on there. Um, the I want to say God bless our fast react teams that responded to the embassy when it was overrun by the Iranian proxy. Everybody's saying Iraqis were protesting. No, they were Iranians, and they were Iranian proxies that were uh, put into those positions. It was made to look like it was the Iraqis getting tired of us being there, but it's all part of the dog and pony show from the deep state. So the general that it was killed recently was also visiting the White House and sitting and chumming up with uh, Barry Soetoro. So they were friends, and this thing has been choreographed. So anyway, it was Iran that participated in the siege of our embassy, and the fast react team got their asses in there and fixed it. And like has been said many times, this is not going to be another Benghazi. Let me see here. Uh, they usually get the news hours before everyone. They have a new update almost every 10 to 15 minutes. What you see on TV or David Harris is considered old. Who is that? Let me see. Back it up a little bit here. I want to. Yeah, if you don't mind, can you put it's Luciano? Can you say who you're talking about down here? That way, I'll have some idea, and I can give them a little plug because I'm not sure who it is. I know you're saying that they get news early, which is great, but then let me see a name there. Fight and defend. Good to see you. All right. Let's see here. This is an interesting thing here. It says Army launches pilot program to study personality assessment entrance tests for recruits. I want to open that one because it interests me too. Because if they wanted a personality study, I probably wouldn't have been allowed to get in because I, have no personality. So we'll see what that looks like. Before entering service, U.S. Army recruits will now have to take an extensive personality test designed to predict how well they will perform as soldiers. Interesting. Under the 3-year pilot program, recruits will be required to take the uh, Toilard Adaptive Personality Assessment System, a 120 question non cognitive exam designed to predict performance, behaviors, and attitudes of potential soldiers, according to the recent Army News release. The TOPAS session pilot will evaluate the use of personality testing to supplement the Armed Forces Qualification Test or Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery cognitive ability test, according to the release. Those who will enlist through the pilot program will be more qualified than what their cognitive test score says. Tanya Hefner selected and Assignment Research Unit chief at the Army Research Institute for Behavioral and Social Sciences, said in the release, I expect them to perform much higher than that. There will be lower attrition for people in the pilot program, and they will outperform many of their peers. So, looks like they're looking for a specific personality to put into special programs. Um, I aced my ASVAB, and apparently I had the right attitude too, because I blew through basic without any issue, except for the fact that during basic training I ended up hitting a guy that had been harassing me all day, and I broke his face and basically got a what's called an Article 15 or disciplinary action, and that kind of stung a little bit because I got a fine and I was delayed on my first rank. But anyway, the bottom line is you can't harass somebody all day when they're already in a stressful environment and expect to be in perfect condition by the end of the day. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Uh, at least it's not stress cards. That just that blows my mind. Um, Lawmakers and experts fear retaliation following U.S. strike on top Iranian commander. Well, no shit. Of course, there's going to be retaliation, but if they have any intelligence whatsoever, they're going to really at least have to think about it, because I don't believe that our response to their response will be any more tits or any more tats. I think it's going to be a full on aerial assault, and Iran is going to experience an awful lot of damage. And, you know, we'll see what happens, but China is telling us that we need to not abuse our military power. So if they attack us, we need to shut up and take it. Sorry, but no. So China can go do something on a sharp stick, but whatever that takes. Uh, here's something that's a little bit disconcerting. It is U.S. suspends anti-ISIS mission in Iraq to protect against Iranian reprisals. That may have been part of this plan because of the Sortoro regime. Um, his pets, the ISIS that he trained and armed. He's probably concerned that they're disappearing, and this gets the military away from the mission of exterminating those parasites and into another mission for distraction. MG Toe Forever, welcome. Good to see you. We got a good group in here tonight. I'm glad to see all of you guys. It's nice that you come hang out with me. Um, anyway, so here we go on this is, what did I open up here? Veterans Today. Um, Iran's revenge starts from Guam thanks to Fordo's nuclear bunker plant. I don't have a clue what the hell that means. Let me open that up and see, because that is the most ridiculously written headline. Oh my god, I gotta zoom that in. I need bigger eyes. There was actually writing. Oh, there it is. I can see it now. No kidding. There is writing on this page. Now, let's see. Fabio Gasper, uh, Fabio Giuseppe, Carlo Caricio for VT Italy. All right, well, it just went downhill from there. Donald Trump is a tycoon and an entrepreneur who became a business tycoon thanks to his ability to get around the laws and to anoint the right friends who led him to be president of the United States of America, thanks to the financial arms lobby, or the 68 million people that voted for him. But either one, whatever they think. It is no worse than his predecessor, Mr. Barry Soetoro, who caused more than 500,000 deaths in Syria 10,000 in Ukraine, and 40,000 in Venezuela for the sanctions tightened by Trump, and so on. It is only more incompetent and cheeky. Is there a slight left leaning uh, connotation in this particular article? I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'm missing it, but you guys let me know. Anyway, so that's a stupid headline and a much worse story. Um, let's see what else we can get. I'm just kind of going through here and seeing what we got. Let's see. Where's Wild debate Paul Adams' message to Robert Steele, Trump, Iran, and whatever. Those are, I don't know what this publication is. I pulled this up because I thought I saw one article that was of interest. And of course, when you leave the page and then you come back to the page, in some cases, when you're dealing with news uh, publications, the articles will change. So I think that's what happened here. This is an absolute left leaning paper, though, and this is Veterans Today. So, this idea of veterans and Democrats is so annoying to me because the Democrats hate veterans. So, people that say, I'm a veteran, oh, I'm a Democrat, or I'm a liberal, I'm a veteran, maybe it's time for a mild but stern exam because these people hate the veterans. They make it absolutely clear. Same thing with the rhinos. So it just doesn't make sense to me. Um, yeah, okay. So I'm getting off of this one. Screw that. I'm not gonna spread propaganda and filth. So veterans today, avoid it like it's got syphilis, and then you'll be safe. Um, huh? Wish I could. Huh? No, you can get on if you want to. Um, but let's see. I'm looking for an interesting one here. I know I got one coming up that's kind of disappointing. Um, this one here says a Marine veteran continues long walk to raise money for fellow vets. Good guy here. He's been trekking. I'm going to open that so I can give him a little kudos. See if I get anybody else. Eric Chanel, welcome. All right. Oh, I got to zoom that in. I guess I didn't prepare when I went live. Usually I have these zoomed in and ready to go. Now this is from the Stars and Stripes, so I know that's not a left-leaning propaganda paper yet. So this one should be straight up. Justin Kuhel, 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 I guess, or Kuhel, is no stranger to walking a long distance, having served in the Marines from 2006 to 2010, with deployments to both Iraq and Afghanistan. Now he chooses to walk to raise money for fellow veterans. He was a grunt, so if we're good at one thing, it's walking. Quell said, and it seems like the natural thing to do. Corell embarked on his third long distance walk on December 14th, leaving from his home in Columbus, Ohio, and walked towards Arlington, Virginia. He stopped in Frederick on New Year's Eve, staying in his tent at Mount Motors on Route 40 for the night. He headed out in the morning, walked towards Route 335. His goal is to raise $20,000, which will go towards two charities: Help Our Military Heroes, which builds vans to accommodate severely wounded soldiers, and Save a Warrior, which helps veterans access mental health care. That's cool. Currently, he has raised $12,500, so he's over half there. 20,000, yeah, so he's over halfway. If he doesn't raise the money by the time he reaches Arlington on Friday, he is prepared to turn around and begin walking home in hopes of raising the money before he gets back to Columbus. If he does raise the money in time, he will head back home with his family who will be waiting for him in Virginia. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to raise the money, Quell said. He would prefer to go home, though his last semester of college at the Ohio State University begins on January 6th. He'll graduate in the summer with a degree in public policy. So good on you, brother. Keep up the good work. I'm looking to see if there's a um, place to donate. The Frederick News Sports and the Tribune Content Agency. That's the paper's information. Article continues below. Okay, so maybe that's it. I'm getting it. Oh, Dirty Rotten Imbecile. Welcome. Good to see you. You don't look that dirty from here, but um, it's cool. Ooh, cookies. All right. Article continues below. All right. It says anybody who wishes to donate can do so by going to the March for Our Vets Facebook page. March for Our Vets Facebook page. So if you want to donate to his cause on his march for helping veterans, please do so. And again, March for Our Vets Facebook page. All right, so he's got some kudos. I got him recognized. Semper Fidelis. Well, in the Army, we don't have enough. I guess we don't have enough education to say all those big fancy words, so we say huh. So huh, back at you, Semper Fi. Let's see. Remains of a Michigan soldier killed in the Korean War identified. Army Private First Class John Albert Shalemba's remains were among those of American soldiers recovered from South Korean battlefields. His body couldn't be identified, and he was subsequently buried at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific in Honolulu. So that's cool. We're starting with DNA and things like that. We're starting to be able to give these guys the rest they need. American Wars, good to see you, brother. Welcome. Sad story here. A Pearl Harbor veteran who spent decades keeping the memories of the fallen alive dies at 100. God rest his soul. He's finally with his fellow man down there in the bottom of the beautiful waters of Hawaii. So he's, I guess you could say, the party that's going to be going on at the barracks in the sky is going to be a roof raiser, that's for sure. Uh, General P.X. Kelly, I just saw this yesterday, 28th Marine Corps Commandant, dies at 91. God rest his soul. He gets everything he deserves in the afterlife. Oh, wow. This is sad. An Air Force veteran who was run over, killed while walking her dog was known as an active volunteer. So sad to hear it. That's just, I know there are little things called accidents, but there's also a lot of people that do things because they're just flat out not paying attention. So if you're out doing stuff, pay attention, be vigilant, look around, save the people around you. Um, let's see here. And let's looking. This one would require an image of. It's a beautiful doghouse, but I don't have the thing set up to share images at this moment. I still got to get a second monitor so I can make some of this stuff easier. It says Iraq War veteran police canine partner receives surprise patriotic doghouse. It's a stunning doghouse with stars for the roof with the blue background and then red and white siding on the thing. And it looks like he's got three of the command patches made into wood reliefs. They're on the front of it. So he's served in three different commands. But it's kind of cool. Wish I could set that up. But thank you, Donna. Yeah, I'm still working on my raising money for my trip to Virginia. Um, if you can help out with $2 towards that. If you've noticed, the Iranian thing is kicking off, and with that, the gas prices are going up, which is standard operating procedure for OPEC, any excuse they can find. And it's just interesting if you hear them constantly talking about the fact that we now are independent oil and energy producers, but yet when things happen in the sandbox, we still have exorbitant rises in our gas prices. So explain that to me. OPEC needs to be abolished. There's no single organization that should be deciding how much we pay for gas in our country. All right. Kevin Morfan, welcome. All right, I'm done with that one there. That's about it on Stars and Stripes. Some fallen soldiers that I like to recognize because, they should never be forgotten. And it's said that you actually die twice. You die the first time physically, and the second time, the last time your name is spoken aloud. So if you're ever walking through a cemetery, just say the names of the people as you walk by. Let their let their lives live on. Uh, let's see. U.S. sends 1,000 additional troops to Middle East amid Iran tensions. Warning: this is CNN. The U.S. will send 1,000 additional U.S. forces and more military resources to the Middle East amid tensions with Iran, the Pentagon announced Monday. In response to the request from U.S. Central Command for additional forces and with the advice of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the consultation with the White House, I have authorized approximately 1,000 additional troops for defense purposes to address air, naval, ground-based threats in the Middle East, Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan said in a statement. The recent Iranian attacks validate the reliable, credible intelligence we have received on hostile behavior by Iranian forces and their proxy groups that threaten United States personnel and interests across the region. Shanahan said, adding that the United States does not seek conflict with Iran. I don't know if we're going to have a choice. Iran has been wanting to fight with us for a long time. They've been poking the bear, and in the last regime, they let them get away with everything, including having our soldiers on their knees on the deck of a ship in Iran, which I'm sorry, I would have been a casualty because I will not get on my knees for an enemy, period. My commanding officer could not get me to get on my knees for an enemy, period. So, shortly before announcing, the Pentagon released detailed set of photos that is said showed Iranian boats removing a mine from one of the two tankers attacked in the Gulf of Oman on January 13th. The U.S. Attributes the attack to Iran. Tehran has vigorously denied the charges. So that was based on information from that deal where they were blowing up oil boats, oil tankers out there. And then they said, "Oh, it wasn't us." They're idiots. I mean, it's like, "Oh, it wasn't us," while they're standing there with their hand in the cookie jar, and the cookie jar has 3 cookies left, but was full when they started, and they're going, "Well, I didn't do it," and they got cookie crumbs falling out of their mouth while they're talking. So that's the kind of people we're dealing with. It's okay to lie. Just make it believable. Wipe the cookies off your chin. All right, the action today is being taken to ensure the safety and welfare of our military personnel working throughout the region and to protect our nation's interests, Shanahan said. We will continue to monitor the situation diligently and make adjustments to force levels as necessary, given intelligence reports and credible threats. They say death to America and they fire mortars. I would say that's credible threats. But what do I know? The U.S. official says the deployment will include intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance aircraft and missile defense for force protection. Don't you think we would have already had missile defense over there? It just seems like maybe. News of the additional troops deployment comes as the State Department announces Monday that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo will travel Tuesday to the command center that oversees Middle East military operations. That would probably, well, I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking AFRICOM, but we'll see. A day earlier, Pompeo said the Trump administration is still mulling military action against Iran. The State Department announced Pompeo's trip to the U.S. Central Command in Florida. Okay, so there's where he's going, Florida. Central Command in Florida after senior Iranian officials told CNN that the U.S. and Iran are heading towards a confrontation, which is very serious for everybody in the region. Separately, Iran announced Monday that it will break uranium stockpile limits set by the International Nuclear Pact the Trump administration pulled the U.S. out of in May of 2018. House Speaker Nasty Pelosi acknowledged the tension with Iran in a statement late Monday, but urged the administration to brief Congress on the deeply concerning decisions. Screw that. They are supporting these terrorists, and they would give them heads up that we were coming. Too much evidence shows that the liberals have been supporting these people. Okay, it is AFRICOM. Thank you. I figured. I refuse to have emojis in the chat. I just can't stand it. I understand totally. Emoji. So, yeah, be defiant. Put three up there. See what happens. Go ahead. Do it. Put three. Go ahead. I think DM will drop it as quick as it shows up, though, because she doesn't want my feed to get dropped. But at some point, we all have to be defiant because nothing changes with submission. We'll just see. All right, you got to run, Deplorable Bobby. Yeah, make sure you guys catch Deplorable Bobby right after me. His show starts immediately after I drop to black. So make sure you get over there after we're done here. But not a second before, though. Not a second before. Okay, maybe one or two. Anyway, I can give Bobby 1 or 2 seconds. So, all right. So anyway, we are dancing towards conflict. And what time do we got here? 6:42. Um, I'm just looking to see what else I got here for news and information. Um, a couple of things that I wanted to bring up about Virginia. This was information that was released to me that will help us to not draw attention to ourselves so that we can do what we have to do without being ridiculed or potentially arrested for no real good reason. Two things. It is a sixth degree felony to wear a mask in the when you are in the process of protesting. So we'll have to see what Antifa decides to do with that one. And also, it's another ignorant law that says that if your front passenger windows on your vehicle are tinted, you will be pulled over for that in Virginia. So if you have a vehicle that's blacked out or tinted out, like a Florida car, if you've got your windows tinted from Florida, you might consider having somebody else drive that doesn't have that, or just say piss on it and get up there and see how it goes. Because this whole thing, if they have their way, everything that we do is going to be illegal, and that's why it's called civil disobedience, because every action that we do is considered illegal already. And we are going there with the understanding that we will be breaking the laws because the laws are unconstitutional. Therefore, they should be null and void. And if you follow the Constitution completely, then they are null and void. Alex, then they better pull over a third of the cars driving around here. That's true. The only reason I bring it up is out of state tag. And then, oh, look, there's somebody we can harass today. So just don't, I'm trying to say don't give them a reason. But the reality is everything's illegal now. So just live your life and, take a shot, do whatever it takes. Uh, Bernie, or Benny, Benny is in the blood. Okay. Jose Acosta, welcome. New face there, I think. I'm not sure if you've been here before. All right. Um, let's see. I'm just looking to get one last run on these. The with Iran going on, pretty much all the news is on Iran. Veterans issues are kind of limited right now because we're starting a new year and we're introducing are going to have the retirement of one of the architects of these new programs. So things are going to be a little bit quiet and probably for another week or so as they get things regrouped. Are you real, Pete? No, Pete is definitely a mirage. Um, he is he's an AI program with self-training capability. So it's miraculous technology. I just have the program on my computer for when we do the shows on Wednesdays, and he's an image that I produce. Is this YouTube stream real? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Are we in the matrix? Yes. I'm glad I'm able to clear some of these things up for you. The questions you're asking are the kind of things that I like to be able to just get off my chest and really answer for you folks so that you understand that everything around you is an illusion, except for me, of course. Um, I am quite real. You are a Russian bot. 12B, I knew that. I really did. I didn't want to come out and say it out loud because I didn't want to start a war. But yes, I've known since the beginning that you are definitely a Russian bot. Uh, anyway, I'm just doing one more quick scan through here. Okay, here's something just a note. Security has been increased nationwide on our military installations and our veterans facilities because of the threat from the Iranian morons, which if you please get over there and watch Douglas Ducote, he's going to tell you about the ones that are already here. Arlington Cemetery has implemented a 100% ID check because of the fears from Iran. So if you're going to pay homage to some of the fallen, just keep that in mind. Make sure you have your ID with you. And if it takes them, when you're going to these facilities, if you're trying to go to memorials and things like that, just be patient because we have to do this kind of crap when the other countries are allowed to walk across our borders without restraint and set up using Fast and Furious to coordinate their ammunition and their weapons. Uh, we have to treat it like we have the enemy within, and that means that you have to be patient and let them check, make sure you're who you say you are. Um, anyway, running down here real quick just to see if there's anything else that's popped up on military.com with their slight left leaning thing going on here. Um, oh, Army Rangers on the way, folks, deploying to join the U.S. forces buildup in the Middle East. Rangers are coming. Hide the children. It's going to get real. U.S. service member DoD contractors killed in Kenya Al Shabaab attack. See, this is what I'm talking about. They're going to be trying to hit us in multiple points to spread us thin. And it is also very convenient that we're getting ready to make our biggest stand since the American Revolution in Virginia with the Second Amendment, and the no more bullshit is basically how it's going to be. And now all of a sudden they're trying to set it up so all of our military get deployed overseas, and that way they have to call in their UN peacekeepers to help quell the protests domestically. But if you are an American, do not comply. The UN has no jurisdiction, even though the Barry Soetoro signed a bill allowing them free reign in this country. You, as an American, did not agree to that. You didn't elect anybody to have other countries represent you. So, null and void, do not comply, walk away. If they confront you, if they try to get physical, defend yourself. Period. End of story. That's the way it needs to be. All right. One more rundown. Just talk amongst yourselves here while I'm looking for a second. Um, uh, all right. There looks like the recycling stuff that I've already read. So I think that this show is going to be a little early tonight. Bobby, that's a gift to you, brother. I want to give you the extra 10 minutes so you can fill us up with information. I'm going to go over my chat real quick, see what else I got going on. The American people believe in too much space as being real. They never went to the moon. The ISIS is fake. Wake up. Well, there's a lot like that that's to be questioned. You question everything and demand proof. It is interesting that all of the documents for the moon landings are not available, but that's a different show. Um, anyway, just looking real quick in my chat, see if I missed anything significant. uh, yeah, Reagan called it Star Wars. Yeah, you remember when they said Star Wars was going to be discontinued? You believe that? Okay, well, anyway, um, I assure you it has not. All right. With that being said, I got 9 minutes, Bobby. You can take it from here, brother. As far as you guys and my mods, thank you so much for keeping the house together. Appreciate everything you do for me. Everybody else that comes to give me an hour of your life every week, love you guys. Appreciate you. Um, God bless. And we had 45 people in the chat tonight, so that's really cool. Um, anyway, you guys have a super week. We'll see you next week. I hopefully will have Belinda back. She has been out gallivanting, acting like she's some kind of retired person out running around with her husband doing some fun stuff. It's disgusting, I'm telling you. But anyway, so they hopefully I'll have her back next week. And until then, y'all, stay in the fight.